Well, hello everyone. Sorry for the delay on that. I had a few problems with, well, my audio again. I'd taken everything down for Dragon Con to go on the road, and then when I came back, I had to quickly prep everything for the Celtic Festival over the weekend. So, I put everything back together, and I thought I'd done an okay job, but there was another sound issue. I had to go through and diagnose that problem, but that's why I had the backup. I brought the backup with me to Dragon Con, of course, because then I was obsessed with backups, so there was another problem, and I had to go to the backup. But thanks for joining us. Hey, everybody. Hey, Janine. Hey, Kathy. Woo! Ah, it has been a crazy couple of weeks, as I'm sure you've been able to tell from following me. Uh, yeah, I have. Well, I went to Dragon Con, of course, and that was a ton of fun. It went over a lot better than I was expecting. Much better, as a matter of fact. Um, yeah, definitely much better. I was surprised by the steps that everybody took and how uh, how well everything, how well they handled everything. They capped it at about 42,000, which still sounds like a lot, but they normally have around 80,000, so it was a big difference. And they did away with day passes on Saturday, so they didn't. Saturday wasn't just a crazy day of people trying to get through uh, corridor after corridor. It's normally crazy on Saturday, and it wasn't. It was actually pretty spread out. There were fewer events, so there was time in between the events, so it wasn't all as compacted as it normally was. So all things considered, yeah, all things considered, it was done very well. About as good as you could expect under the circumstances. That's what I'm going to say about Dragon Con. They it's a chaotic mess logistically, but they still managed to do a very good job, and I have to give them a lot of kudos and credit on that. Very much so, very much so. Yeah, Janine, I definitely was having a lot of fun on that with that. It was just show after show after show. Really, the tough part is the logistics beforehand, and then the travel to get there, like you do. But once you're there, it is a lot of fun. My shows went very well. I got new fans, a lot of new fans, and that was the interesting thing. I think because there were fewer events going on, the things that people normally count on doing, they were kind of like, well, okay, what is available now? Because normally I do this at this time, and there were a lot of new people showing up at our shows, and that was really nice. I mean, a lot of people who'd never heard me before came up afterwards, bought music, and said, "Yeah, you're great. I really like your stuff." So that was nice. That was nice. And hey, Jan, yeah, there was a little glitch thing delay, so I took care of it. Normally, I can fix technical problems pretty quick, but yeah, it was just getting everything ready for. I took all of my equipment to Dragon Con to try to set it up, and then of course it wouldn't work there with the connection they had, so I went ahead and I didn't get to do it. But I am going to bring it again to Gen Con, and hopefully, hopefully we'll figure something out. I will bring my equipment, so yeah, the goal is to try to make this work well on the road, which of course is a huge issue. Having a good portable setup, not an easy task. Not an easy task at all. So I'm going to keep working on that and see what I can do. It's never easy, but you try. And I'll keep talking about what I've learned about that, because there there aren't really many ways to make this work on the road. If you don't have a good internet connection where you are, you're stuck you trying to use the bandwidth from a hotspot or your cell phone. And those really aren't designed for uploads to work very, very well. They'll do the basic stuff, but that's it. So we'll see. We'll see. It'll be an interesting endeavor. And hey, Kat, great to see you. Great to see you. So yeah, always a challenge, and always a technical challenge, and that's what I try to do, because that is, well, that's the fun. Challenges are fun. At least I've always thought so. So yes, that's kind of what I've been up to. I'm heading out tomorrow to go to Gen Con, and that will be an interesting endeavor. I'm going to take the trip, take it over 2 days because it is pretty long to long ways to Indianapolis. So yeah, that's kind of what's been going on with me. How about y'all? Anything interesting? I mean, I know I saw Jan over at the uh, Sherwood Celtic Festival this past Saturday, and that was fun. Uh, the interesting thing about Celtic festivals is, I don't know, there are a lot of similarities between that and Ren fairs. Um, so, but yes, yes, yes. It's kind of interesting because Celtic festivals have been around longer than Ren fairs have. Really, I mean the Ren fairs we're familiar with anyway. So yeah, I mean they're kind of like a very concentrated version of a Ren fair in an odd way. Um, Different emphasis put on them certainly, but if you kind of go with the Celtic themed weekend that you find at some Ren fairs, there's some crossover. I mean, a lot of the music gets to be the same. You do have the vendors and shops. You certainly have an emphasis on history, although it's not as much Celtic history as it is at a Celtic festival, or Scottish history. If you're at a Scottish festival, Scottish festivals always have, tables for each of the clans, so they eat everybody's last name. You have, for me, it'd be Clan McKee, but all these different uh, booths for that, so you can go and find out more about your family history. So it's a lot more of a genealogical history lesson at Scottish festivals. Irish festivals, let's be honest, it's less about history and more about drinking, but there is some history there too. And certainly there's an emphasis on dance and some of the other artistic endeavors you don't find as much at Ren fairs, but at least that style of dance. But it is interesting. There is a lot of crossover. It is fascinating. Um, oh, and Kathy said she went to the Pittsburgh Renaissance Festival and the Pittsburgh Irish Festival. What did you think were the most common things between them, Kathy? I mean, did you think they were totally different events, or was there some crossover? I mean, with the Sherwood Celtic Festival, it seems like there's more crossover because it's held on the fairgrounds. So it feels a little more like a Ren fair. But normally Irish festivals, they're held at convention centers, outdoor parks, that kind of thing. It's not like a fairgrounds type of thing. You don't normally get permanent structures, except maybe the overall building. All the booths and everything are with a tent covering, pretty much. Uh, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so you went with Time Travelers and Wizarding Weekend. Okay, got it. Yeah, that is always good. Yeah, State Fairgrounds too, Jan. You're right. So Sherwood Celtic Festival feels like more of a crossover than others. Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I don't know. They're both related and very different. I mean, you get some similar food, you get some very different food. Of course, Celtic festivals, they go for some traditional food and they go for ultra modern food, and Ren fairs do the same. They try to do that as well. Um, so yeah, it, but I guess that's true for any type of state fair, or festival, or anything. I mean, there is a certain format that they tend to follow. They have games, they have history, they have art and music and that type of thing. They have shops where you can buy stuff, and it's an event where you can learn a lot or have a lot of fun, or both. And they offer that for different types of people depending on what they're interested in. And I think that's always a good thing. Scotch eggs. Good point, Scott. That is always a good one. Always a good one. Ultra modern food. Dippin' Dots. Okay, yeah. Well, like you'll get, like at the state fairgrounds, you get the fried everything. You get the fried Twinkies, you get that kind of thing. And you don't normally find those at Ren fairs. Although there are a few you will. But that's more rare. You'll get the whole fairground type of approach at Celtic festivals. Um, oh, and Jan is commenting that the North Texas Irish Festival food and drinks are more expensive than the Ren fairs. Yeah, I think that's generally true. Not always. There are some Ren fairs that are pretty expensive, but generally, I think you're right. I think some of the Irish festivals they tend to go a little more elitist with their pricing, and sometimes with the food quality too, but not always. Sometimes it's general hot dog type fare, and they are expensive. Yeah, and Kathy's right. Music crosses over a little, definitely. And you're right. They don't wear costumes as much. The people who go there at the Irish festivals, they tend to just go in regular clothes and enjoy it, and enjoy everybody else wearing outfits. So totally right, Kathy. I think that's a good observation. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of an interesting time. I mean, there is some crossover, but I don't know. They each have their own thing. That's why Celtic themed weekends at Ren fairs are always kind of interesting to me because I don't think they're very. They're not very representative of Celtic festivals in general. But like I said, there is some crossover, so I do find that interesting. It is a good bit of fun. Um, yeah, and I know Jan, for her, a lot of it is the music. So, yeah, I mean, both would appeal a great deal to you because the music is the thing, for sure. Definitely. So, yeah, I totally agree with that. And I understand why you would love it. That's why I like them, because of the music. For me, the gateway to me for Ren fairs and Celtic festivals was music. I mean, come on, I'm a musician. But even before I was a musician, I loved music, and that was the main reason I would go. But I learned quickly there are a lot of other things and a lot of other points of interest. It just usually there's one thing that people love the most at fairs and festivals. It's that main thing for them, and I totally understand. And that's one of the best things about them. There's not just one thing to enjoy. Enter the haggis, yes. Uh, yeah, that is one thing you don't normally find at regular Ren fairs. You don't find haggis. But at Scottish festivals and some Celtic festivals, you can get haggis. Uh, and it's actually pretty good, depending on what type of haggis it is. And yes, there are different types of haggis. Uh, yeah, they're definitely can taste very different. Haggis, for those of you that haven't had it, is I would describe it, and for you that have had it, correct me if I'm wrong, but my impression of haggis is it's like meaty oatmeal. I mean, is that kind of your impression too? It's like meaty oatmeal because it has oats and meat and yeah, and it's cooked, so it kind of has that consistency, and it's not bad. I mean, it's definitely not. Um, just depends on your taste. Now, if you don't like oats or meat very much, not going to be your jam, and totally understandable. But it is an interesting food, and certainly a cultural food that is interesting to try. I recommend it if you get a chance. There are some really good. There's some good canned haggis. What was it? Caledonia, I think, is the brand name of it. But yeah, it is. It's beef haggis, so it's not based on sheep. It's actually beef haggis, and certainly a little easier for people to take because it's more the meat people are familiar with, a la steak or hamburger. But that is actually a good way to try it, and it's pretty good when you cook it. Just saying. Mm. Yeah, meaty clove oatmeal. Yeah, that's totally Scott. That's pretty good. Yeah, and of course it's always seasoned a little different. It depends on your tastes. Susan Hill says canned alligator is like Alpo. Only the way it looks. Actually, after you cook it, it doesn't seem like Alpo, but you have to cook it because if you eat it raw, not a fan. I'm not gonna lie, not a fan of that. But I mean, you're just reheating it. It's pre-cooked, but still, Yeah, it's not. No, 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 no. Of course. Yes, Jan. Yeah, I believe they do have that canned haggis I'm talking about at Things Celtic. Some others, you'll find it at different festivals. I mean, if you go and you look at the different shops there at a Scottish festival, you'll find some canned haggis. And I'm just saying it might be something easier to try because you can cook it at your own time and you're not relying on at the festival atmosphere. But hey, some festivals will have it, so check around. It's something interesting to check out. Definitely, definitely something to talk about. Something to take a picture of and put on your Facebook feed because it is that's not something everybody's tried. It's definitely different. And like I said, it's meaty oatmeal. It's nothing that exotic, really, when it comes down to it. I mean, how it's cooked sounds a little weird, being cooked in a intestine, stomach kind of thing. But that's just the covering. What's inside is that's really what you're eating. So yeah, don't worry about that. Scott says good on nachos. Okay, yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Who needs refried beans, really? I mean, yeah, throw on some haggis on nachos. I like it. I like it. Oh, okay. Ozark Highland Farm. Interesting. Okay, Alicia, that's good safety tip. Good safety tip. And Janine, yeah, fried mush. Yeah, I mean, yeah, kind of. It's yeah, it's kind of just like it's kind of like a shepherd's pie without the potatoes. I mean, it has that kind of meaty vegetable kind of aspect to it, but it's mostly oats and meat, so still very good with enough HP sauce. I love it, Kat. Very good, very good. Corned beef, yeah, Uh, you know, it doesn't really taste like corned beef to me because I've had corned beef. I mean, my name's Andrew McKee. I've had corned beef more than once over my life. So yeah, I've never thought of even beef haggis as tasting much like corned beef. Um, but yeah, the meat just tastes totally different. But yeah, corned beef is definitely good for sure. Definitely a good one. Condiment of the gods. Okay, well, that they need to put that in their advertising material. Definitely. I think so. Oh, no problem. I was late too, Drew. So no problem. Yeah, I totally had a few issues setting everything up after I took everything down for Dragon Con. So and brought it back. So yeah, I ran into a few headaches, but I fixed them, so we're good. Um, just us. Oh, your toppings on nachos. That's it. Yeah, we're talking about haggis as an interesting food to try at Scottish or Irish festivals, and yeah, somebody said it would be great on nachos, which honestly, I could see that. I could see that. Definitely not bad. I mean, the Southerners have cheese grits. We have cheese haggis. I like it. I really like it. I think that'd be interesting. Very interesting. Nye? Okay. Fair enough, Jess. Depends on your taste. Oh, London pub steak sauce. Okay. Okay. Tamales. Hmm. Okay, maybe. Tamales. I'm so finicky with tamales. I've lived in Texas too long, so that's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe tamales? Maybe? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, International Fusion Restaurant. We'll serve it along with stir-fried Chinese tacos. Interesting. Interesting. That could be. I could see that. I could see that. Okay. Okay. Always good. Well, oh gosh, it's already 7:30. I try to keep these low. Of course, I started about 8 minutes late or something like that, so I still have a little time. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk real quick about the shows coming up because there are, once again, it's a great time to be going to Faire. There's a lot around there. So let's see. Here we go. Yes. So a lot of great shows. See how that map is really filling up compared to several weeks ago, right? really coming along. I love it. I love it. Always good. Now, of course, some stuff from earlier weeks again, the Kansas City Renaissance Festival, which is in Kansas, not in Kansas City, but it's close. I mean, it's close to Missouri. It's out just outside of Kansas City, in Kansas. So yeah, but then you have the St. Louis Ren Fair is going on at the same time, which is interesting. They used to be at different times of the year, but they yeah they St. Louis got bought out, and they put it at the same time of the year as the Kansas City, deciding based on research that that there wasn't really much crossover, that people would go to both and it wouldn't affect it. But it's interesting. It's an interesting way to do it. But that seems to be working for them for the moment. There's the Renaissance Fair at Sleepy Hollow still going on in Des Moines, Iowa. And of course the Minnesota Renaissance Festival in Shakopee, Minnesota. Woohoo! And of course the Michigan Renaissance Festival in Holly, Michigan. So you're getting a lot of those northern states really getting some fairs still going, and it's a great time of year. Not quite as the temperature's starting to get a little better. Not too bad. Still warm, but not ridiculously so. Okay, then we get into the Ohio Renaissance Festival in Waynesville, Ohio. Always fun. And then you jump on over to Pennsylvania with the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair in Mannheim. And let's see. Then we also have what am I missing? I'm missing. Wow, I'm missing something. Oh, Pittsburgh Renaissance Festival in West Newton, Pennsylvania. That's it. Whew! I knew I was missing one. Okay, and then you go down to the Maryland Renaissance Festival in Annapolis, and now you also are getting the Lakewood Renaissance Fair in Lakewood, New Jersey. So that's an interesting one that's starting up. Then the New York Renaissance Fair in Tuxedo Park, always a fun one. And let's see. This is actually getting to be, I'm trying to follow the list, and the list is so long now. I actually have to jump around a little bit and get it. It's crazy. The Connecticut Renaissance Fair in Lebanon, Connecticut, and King Richard's Fair in Carver, Massachusetts. So yeah, good stuff there. And of course, you still have Canterbury Renaissance Festival of Northeast Texas in Mount Pleasant, Texas. And we're also getting the Santa Fe Renaissance Fair in Santa Fe, New Mexico. But then we can also go to the West Coast, where we're getting the Northern California Renaissance Fair in Hollister, California. So yeah, a lot of fairs going on, right? Really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Oh man. Oh wow, yeah. And I see that there's a lot of comments going on about the different fairs. And I know Alicia does have some opinions about the Kansas City St. Louis overlap. Yes, very true. And I applaud your restraint, Alicia. I applaud your restraint. And yeah, Jan, you can do a double header that way and do one day and one another. It's close enough. Actually, St. Louis to Kansas City is not that long of a drive, really. It really isn't. So it's very doable. Very doable. So yes. Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It is... there are so many fairs going on, and I'm not doing any of them this weekend. I'm going to Gen Con and Indianapolis, so that should be fun for me. But that's what's going on here. Yeah, and that I am getting a little tongue-tied. That is a long list. I'm gonna have to organize my list better when I read them, because that's definitely, it's not as easy as it used to be earlier in the summer when I was doing these. Definitely a little more difficult, because yeah, that is it's starting to get a little complex now, and it's only going to get worse. The fall is definitely the busiest fair time, I think, and it's just going to keep going. Really? Kansas City and Minnesota in the same weekend, Jan? Wow. That is Yeah, that is very good. Oh, and Alacia says it's a very quick drive if you have Missouri plates and don't care. Well, I mean, if you're gonna, if you really think you have Missouri plates and you can go fast from one to the other, you're just gonna have to show me. And for the three of you that got that joke, since Missouri is the show me state, and good, I'm glad you try to make them make sense. And yeah, Jess, you're right. Jan is a dedicated fan. Her and Jim, they love to travel and see all of the different fairs and see the performers and check it out. And it's a fun experience to go see all these different fairs. I keep talking about that, and it's, you know, there are some similarities at fairs, but there's so many differences. Fairs have their own unique flavor and character, even if a lot of the same performers are there. It's you have different cast and different grounds and different stages. It's a different area. It's just totally a different feel, and it's so rare to even go to two fairs and feel like they have that much in common at all. They're so distinctive most of the time. So yeah, I think it's. Alicia's right. The page does not advocate speeding. That is true. I do not. I do not really speed. I might go 5 miles per hour with the speed limit, but for me, I think it's very important not to be in a rush when you travel, because that's where stress comes from. You don't want to have to be in a rush. You want to be able to say, "Hey, I need to stop for gas, and I'm gonna rest for 5-10 minutes. I'm gonna stretch my legs. I'm gonna go get a snack," and not feel like you have to rush. Because when you travel around all the time and you start doing that, ooh, it's not good for your psyche. You really need to relax when you're on the road. Stop, smell the flowers. I mean, treat it like a vacation drive. Stop and see a few things along the way if you can, even if it's just for 30 minutes. Stop at that, scenic outlook stop that on the road and see what it's all about, because that can be so much fun to drive and look at that as a bonus in traveling to all these great events. You get to explore the United States too. So, and some of it's quite lovely. And you're not wrong. That's the lack of rush and love of routine is how stress really gets to you hard. Oh yeah, and my love of iced tea, definitely. Southern iced tea is the best. Oh, it doesn't have to be the largest ball of twine or whatnot. I mean, I remember driving on the East Coast once and insisting that to drive the Blue Ridge Parkway. I mean, as opposed to interstates and all of that, go the Blue Ridge Parkway. It's slow, but it's gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, make the time and stop at all those overlooks and see all that beauty. Yeah, I mean, definitely. Don't always drive interstate. Sometimes go the back roads. Stop in some of the small towns and check it out. I mean, you'd be surprised. Weston, yeah, yeah. Oh, Scott, no, I used to love sweet tea. I've been trying to go less sugar these days, so I go on sweet tea as well. So do not feel bad. You're not alone. You're not alone. And unsweet tea, I mean, it's like it tastes good. I mean, I make jokes about it on stage sometimes during drinking songs, but no, it's much better than water. I mean, come on. So yeah, yes, you're right, Jan. Mini Kodak moments. Um, yes, it is a lovely site, and there are lots of places like that around the country. Um, yeah, I mean, okay, there are some places that are really boring drives too. So that's why it's really important to, when you're driving through a lovely spot, enjoy it, because there are going to be those drives where it is not that scenic. It is very flat and it is very tedious and boring. And I'm not going to mention those places, but some of you are thinking exactly what some of those places are I'm thinking. There are some. Yeah. Um, yeah, Colorado is a great one. Colorado, of course, is lovely. And, of course, Wyoming. Oh, my gosh. A lot of the... Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of lovely states out there. I mean, I talked about the Santa Fe Ren Fair earlier. And, yeah, New Mexico, some pretty spots out there. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, Arizona can be quite lovely, too, in certain areas. Um, Yeah, yeah, definitely. And the other interesting thing is not everybody likes the same view. I mean, I know my mother was always crazy about windmills. If she saw a windmill, she would just enjoy it. Something about it, just she loved seeing windmills when we drive around, and that meant a lot to her. I guess it was an association or something from when she was young, but yeah, she just saw the different characteristics of windmills interested her. And, I mean, different scenic views are going to be interesting to different people. There's no right or wrong here. It's scenic beauty. And art and beauty, there's no right or wrong. It's just taste. Tilting at them? Well, that's a little... I don't think she went whole Don Quixote on it, Scott, so I think we're okay. I think we're okay. Yeah, there's definitely some parts of the country I wouldn't advise driving at night or in inclement weather. I've driven in Colorado in the off-road back area kind of thing when it was snowing in pitch darkness, and that was not fun. Not fun for a southerner who's not used to driving on snow, I'll tell you that. I somehow managed to live. But yeah, you got to be careful sometimes. Yeah, when in places you're not familiar with, drive a little slower. And that's another good excuse to drive slower and enjoy the scenic beauty because it's safer. So in places you're not familiar with, always a good idea. So anyway, good to talk about travel because I'm about to do a lot more of it here coming up, and it should be a good bit of fun. I have my audiobook list all ready to go, so yeah. I mean, Texans, we can handle rain. We just, you can call it, hot snow if you prefer. That's what we're used to. So we try. So take care, everybody. I hope you had a good time tonight talking about this, or at least watching me try to talk about that. That's always fun. And yeah, I know a lot of us haven't really traveled much in a while, and I'm just starting to do it again. So, but I'm trying to do it as safely as possible, and hopefully in the not too distant future, all of us will be traveling more and get to enjoy it some. So, take care. Have a good night, and I'll try to get back on in a week or so, in a week on Monday right after Gen Con and be able to tell you a bit about it. So take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.